In this exercise, I'm going to show you how to use Repoussé to turn circles into very close approximations of spheres. Now, what in the world do I mean by that? Well, I'm back here inside the final version of this 3D illustration. And if you look at each one of these balls that surrounds the sheriff's badge, it might look at first glance like these are perfect spheres. But check this out. If I turn off the leather layer, then you can get a better view of the shadow, and you can see that the balls of the shadow have little edges cut out of them here and there, and that they're giving away the fact that we are looking at very complicated polygons. And you can even see something of a straight edge on this ball down here. Now, you may wonder at this point, all right, well, so if we don't get perfect results out of Repoussé, why use Repoussé? I mean, you can create spheres. We saw that when we were making Saturn. Problem is, if we represented each one of these guys as an independent sphere, then we would have to meticulously position each and every one of them at the endpoints of that star, and there's no automation tools to help us out, so we'd really have our work cut out for us. Secondly, we want this sort of rough approximated look because, after all, the sheriff's badge is made out of pounded metal, so you don't always want exacting perfect results from your 3D artwork. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to our composition in progress. I'll press Control semicolon or Command semicolon on the Mac to hide those guidelines because we don't need them anymore. Then make sure that the balls layer is active here inside the Layers panel. And go up to the 3D menu, choose Repoussé, and choose either Layer Mask or Selected Path. Now, Selected Path may be dimmed for you. It depends whether the vector thumbnail is active or not. But the two commands, when both available, do exactly the same thing, even if you only have a single path outline selected inside the shape layer. The reason we have this duplicate layer mask command is because you can also use Repoussé on layers that have pixel-based layer masks. In any event, choose the command, you'll get the warning, click yes in order to enter the dialog box, and then you'll end up getting these sort of extruded logs by default. We don't want those at all. In fact, we're going to take advantage of one of the presets. And remember back at the end of the previous chapter, there was that one preset that turned the text into sort of fluffy pillows, and we had to view the text at a different angle to see what I was talking about. Well, that's this one right here, inflated sides. Go ahead and click on it, and that will actually turn those circles into spheres, just like that. You don't have to do anything else. It gets rid of the extrusion by setting the depth value to 0. It sets the inflation to both the front and back sides. The angle is 90 degrees and the strength is 0.15. You could experiment with the strength and see if you come out with something better, but this ends up looking great to me. So all you need to do after clicking on that preset is click OK, and you've done the deal. That's how easy it is to convert circles into spheres using Repoussé. All right, now we need to assign some textures. So double-click on a 3D layer thumbnail in order to bring up the 3D panel, and then click on Balls Front Inflation, click the little page icon next to Diffuse, and choose Load Texture. Navigate your way to the O3 Shapes folder and find a file called weatheredmetal.jpg. It's another image from the Fotolia image library. Click on the Open button, and that'll go ahead and apply that texture to the face of those 6 balls. Now, if you look closely at these guys, you'll see that they have gray edges either above or below them, and that's the backs showing through. So we should apply that same texture to the backs. I'll go ahead and click on Balls Back Inflation. You could try to use your material drop tool, but it's hard to get into those areas. So the better thing to do is to select the back inflation, click the page icon next to Diffuse, choose the Load Texture command, find that same file, weatheredmetal.jpg, click the Open button, at which point Photoshop will give you the best error message I've ever seen out of the program. It tells me you already have a texture in the scene with the path, and your path name will be different. Proceeding will create a second reference to your OK, cancel. That's excellent. Basically, that's that message I was trying to avoid in the second chapter, and it's telling you that you didn't need to work this way. Sure, it gets the idea. You want to apply this same weathered metal texture to the backs as well, but really it's the only option we had. So I'll click OK in order to go ahead and use that exact same weathered metal texture. So it didn't create a duplicate copy of it. We're still using the same one. And that's why just one is listed here inside the Layers panel. All right, so that completes the 6 balls around the sheriff's badge. In the next exercise, we're going to take on the orange star with the holes.